So, Minister, Mr. Harin Fernando, of course, is driving the Digital Sri Lanka initiative, and I'm going to ask you to speak about that briefly. But also, how important is it to integrate this region as one digital market?
Well, I would first and foremost think that all what the Minister Prasad said, we at Sri Lanka have been looking to India as a big brother always, and we always want to implement what India did. But when it comes to the other, Sri Lanka is just at the brink of doing the same thing, but in a very bigger version of it. Technically, I think we have trying to implement what Estonia and Sweden did. But what amazed me was India is quite technically more savvy than Sri Lanka, I would say. But the other software was done by a Sri Lankan company.
That's right.
So it gave me a bit of a thrill just to see Virtusa being a Sri Lankan company doing the other software. So also, when you look at it, it is always good to work with India because it's a huge market. There's a lot to learn from India. I mean, Airtel being in Sri Lanka, it also gives us a major advantage and a benefit. Just to elaborate on one fact about connectivity, digitization is nothing without connectivity. So you need to first make sure that the connectivity is right. Even when Minister was saying it's about 270 million people that is connected, that's about 40% or 35% in India who are still connected, which is similarly in Sri Lanka, we sitting with 20 million population. We are about 30% who are still connected on digital devices. So we're still not connected if you really look at it, however digital we are going to get. And we still have the risk of explaining to our population what digital is. How many of our population knows what digital is? This is the first barrier that I had to face when last year our government was formed and I was given the Ministry of Digital Infrastructure together with telecommunication. So I tried to find, because I come from a very rural constituency in Sri Lanka, which is one of the poorest. And when I became the digital minister, my people were very unhappy because they didn't know what digital was. So I tried to explain to them what digital could do to them. So I went to the dictionary because digital is numbers, but numbers wouldn't matter to them. So I said digital is what life brings to your fingertips. And if it's digital banking or if it's anything in digital e-governance, everything brings it to your fingertips. In 10 years or 5 years, our village agriculture will be on their fingertips, checking your weather, going on to AccuWeather Check and thinking what time it's going to rain. They'll know at what time to go into your paddy. So it's simple as that. So you need to simplify to get it out in their heads to get them to be included. So I think the integration of how India works, how all of this works, is something that we need to plan and get the expertise and the knowledge in here. Sri Lanka right now, I think, is sitting at a very pretty place. I think 2070 is we're going to revolutionize, and there are a lot of agreements that PM Modi and our Prime Minister is just getting ahead. And I'm very happy our Prime Minister is very savvy with IT, so it looks very good.
Well, how do you see the KPO sector picking up in Sri Lanka? It has such a strong cadre of accountants and other...
Yes. So in Sri Lanka, we have lots of accountants and a lot of, I think after UK, we have the most amount of CIMA qualified accountants in Sri Lanka and legal people. So what we're really concentrating is not on BPOs, but on KPOs. So we have already appointed 2 ambassadors for India specifically, just to ask Indian companies to come. Because as I said again, connectivity is key. Sri Lanka is only 65,000 square kilometers, and out of that, 32,000 is already fiber optic cables have been laid. And we have 2 submarine cables in Sri Lanka, so it gives us 6 times the broadband speeds. Plus, we are doing the Google balloon. So that's an innovation that we have tried. That's lots of people have criticism, but I love that innovation because if it works, we'll be the first country to have the entire country covered on 4G LTE technology. So that will put us on the map. And in November, we're doing the piloting. Already people call me the Hon.Harin because if one balloon fell down. So already I've become a joke in Sri Lanka. But innovation is something that you really need to give an opportunity. If it works, it's a gamble. But if it works, you are going to cut so much of capex cost on most of the companies like Airtel. We have 5 companies, which is too much in Sri Lanka, telecom providers. We have 2 Malaysian companies, Indian, Emirati company. So I think it's too big. we are trying to scale it down to about 2 or 3 player market. We want to merge and we want to bring it smaller so better service could be offered. So we're looking at all these models, but if the Google balloon works, we can cut most of the company's capex costs and get value addition instead and give more content to be provided with all the questions that was asked about ladies, the inclusion. And what we also believe is we're trying to get everybody included by a thing called the National Digital Facilitation Centers around Sri Lanka. So they will know how to use a device, what to be done. We also have a thing called a smart social circle that we have already established. We have 14,000 Grama Nildari divisions, which is like the lowest level of community-based centers. We're having the community leaders being taught about digital devices already, how to use it, what to do, how do you access. So that way we will get everybody included of how they will be using this in the next 3 to 4 years. And plus, we're starting in schools, so we're giving tablets for next year, starting with grade 9 students. We have procured, because we only have 3 million students in Sri Lanka overall. Out of that, we're giving 500,000 students tablets with a keypad, with a 10-inch keypad as well, 10-inch screen with a keypad, and we want to start coding with every student at grade 9 level. So we want to build that up.
But before I turn to Vijay, sir, can I